Hey, it's me. Last week you seemed to like scripted videos, so here's a semi-scripted one. I'm going to be going through every single killer in Dead by Daylight and adjusting their kit. First of all, Trapper. The main character of the game technically, he's the poster child. I think he deserves a little more pressure. The haste buff was fine, but how about we make Deep Wound base kit? Lengthening Jaws is a really good add-on, and if we make that part of his base kit, I think he'll be more efficient. He's the poster child, he should be good. Right now, if everyone's injured, he doesn't have much pressure. Next we have Wraith. Wraith, I don't see an issue with him. If Trapper wasn't the poster child, I think Wraith would be, with the amount of buffs they get, how strong their base kit is. The only issues I have with Wraith are his add-ons. A lot of them seem weird. Like, running, max add-ons in a certain category can feel unfair. And some people just don't like facing Wraith because of it. So I think nerfing some of his more powerful add-ons would be fine. His base kit's powerful enough, I don't think he needs crutched up with insane add-ons. Like the Silent Bell, that's the only add-on I have a difficulty with, because I don't pay attention much. So maybe make it a delayed bell? That's the only suggestions I can make. Overall, Wraith is a perfectly fine killer in my opinion. Like I've said multiple times. Next up, we've got the Hillbilly, who I don't have any issues with his rework. I've seen people go, oh, Overdrive is annoying now, but everyone was really wanting an Overdrive, so I'm not gonna do, like, oh, we want 1.0 Billy back. No, Billy's fine, honestly. The only issue I have again is add-ons, but the opposite reason of Wraith. Currently, all of Billy's Overdrive add-ons have just got to do with keeping it longer, and that's it. There are add-ons that don't work with Overdrive, so it's limiting. Maybe make some fun add-ons, like in Overdrive you break stuff normally faster, or you see the auras of survivors who are really far away. Anything to make this already really fun to play killer fun. I don't think I need to say that if every killer was extremely fun, I think more people would play this game for longer and not get tired out. Next up, we've got the Nurse. They're a problematic killer, I'll admit. Not too problematic, in my opinion. A lot of killers in Dead by Daylight get complaints. I don't complain, possibly just because I really like the game, and I don't like seeing large amounts of change happen to it, because I fear they're going to do something bad, like an upcoming killer. I think, yeah, literally the next killer I'm talking about, I'll have to dwell back on that. But Nurse's kit is fine. I think the only buff I'd want is maybe move the same speed as survivors. You might think that's overpowered, somehow, moving the same speed as your target rather than slower. But honestly, I don't think any killer should be slower than survivors. It's just kinda strange, honestly. It's either that or make plaid flannel base kit. You can choose which one you like more, but if one of them gets added to base kit, I'd be happy. I might actually play Nurse rather than avoiding challenges. Next, Huntress. Huntress is getting a massive buff in the next update, which I don't think anyone asked for. Even Huntress mains are asking, Behavior, what are you doing? Huntress is already insane. Giving them double the amount of hatchets, more speed when winding up, it's so weird. If I could just make one change, I'd revert all of that. Huntress live right now is perfect. They can be oppressive, they can be not oppressive. The only tweak I'd really make if we ignore these changes is maybe make Soldier Putty base kit. I'd be fine with that. Haste, additional movement speed when you don't have any power, I think is fair enough. If it gets a problem, blame me, but hey, I think I'm fine with that change. Next up, we've got Michael Myers. The Shape, whatever you want to call him, is a bit underpowered, honestly. For an icon of horror history who is notoriously extremely powerful, can do a lot, and Dead by Daylight is probably one of the worst killers somehow. Sad. But I think the only change that would buff him a lot, and I'm limiting myself to one change technically, so good, make stock able to replenish in survivors. Like, they do objective stuff and their stock goes up so you can stock them more. I think that'll be a good change. Buff him enough, not too powerful. Next up we've got the Hag. The Hag is an alright killer, honestly, in the upcoming changes, or, it's the upcoming changes. They're getting a lot of adjustments that I think will make them better. But if I'm being honest, I think Mint Rag should be how Hag is normally. Currently their kit encourages a lot of camping, which the only killer I think should have camping is Bubba, because, funny basement meme, but whatever. Mint Rag has a drawback and a buff. It's a perfect addition to their power without being too powerful. You have a cooldown in your teleport, which makes sense in my opinion, but you can teleport anywhere. I'll explain the Bubba thing more when we get to them, but yeah. My only issue with Hag is I like wandering around the map and I can't keep a web of traps, so Mint Rag base kit would fix that. Now we've got the Doctor. To some, especially me, for sometimes, if I'm in a bad mood, problematic killer. I can't think of any issues that are terrible, if I'm being honest. The only thing I think I'd like is maybe a reward for having all survivors madnessed. Like, maybe each maddened, whatever the right term would be, survivor increases your terror radius, allowing Stag Blast to be used at a longer range. I think that'd be cool. Any way of rewarding a killer for playing well is a good game design. It'd suck if they just made a killer who spawned into the game and could move at like 500%. What am I talking? I'm waffling. I'm waffling because I decided to split these up into 1 minute segments because I thought I had a lot more to say. But next, we've got the one I was just talking about, Bubba. Bubba's base kit I think is completely fine and lore accurate, in a way. His thing is about protecting his land. So he has a chainsaw power which is good at moderate range and sweeping an area. It's called a chainsaw sweep for a reason. The only issue I have with his power is he is way too easy to punish unhooks if he's nearby. So I think the only change I'd make to that is each hit during a chainsaw sweep slows him slightly. Or maybe punish for hitting someone with endurance, cause Tantrum to fill up a little bit. Any way of making him less campy while keeping his healthy parts of the camping nature. Next up we've got another horror icon who's mistreated, Freddy. Other than the fact he's not Robert Englund, which I'm disappointed by, but they're bound to make a legendary skin for him. In the upcoming update, they haven't said this on any of the things, but they've changed one of his add-ons. Two of his add-ons, one of his add-on types. So they are open to changing Freddy. Every time I've asked someone who plays Freddy religiously, or someone who's played them for a little bit, any, amount that's worth it, they always say, just make Dream Palace base kit. It's a great power. It's weird that they lock this part of the power behind an add-on. I'm fine with add-ons changing gameplay, but locking an entire part of a weak killer's power behind an add-on is weird. Just make it part of the base kit, and I think Freddy would be he'd be better, honestly. He'd be more fun. Next up, we've got the Pig. My first main. They've got a special place in my heart. I'm prefacing it with this, because I'm about to say something that might be controversial. I think head traps should be buffed. In the next update, as I keep on saying, Pig's getting a change. Head traps now will take longer to kill people. I'm fine with that. I don't care about head pops, I care about the pressure they make. And the buffing dash, good. Dash was weak in my opinion, buffing it is great. I think head traps should activate not on generators. That's a variable you can't depend on. Maybe unhooking the survivor, link it to make your choice, a pig perk. Yeah, put head trap on survivor, they get unhooked, it activates. I think that's completely fine, honestly. And if you have a problem with that, you can complain in the comments. Go ahead. Do it. Next up, we've got the clown. The clown, I'm gonna admit, if I had made this video 2 months ago, I would nerf him to the ground. But I find him so fun now. I don't know what happened. I think I played against a clown once. I thought, oh, this is unfair. I bet if I tried playing like that, I wouldn't win. Or like, if I tried playing like that, it wouldn't feel fun. He is so fun. And they're buffing him a lot, like Huntress. But I think it's deserved. I think the only thing I'd change is maybe add more mind game potential. And make it a little fairer, I guess. Make it so that purple bottles also are white and then become purple, like what yellow balls do. It's a cool idea. That's all I have. It also makes it so that throwing a bottle directly onto a survivor, they have a chance to react, I guess. Yeah. Next up, we have got the Spirit. Very problematic killer. Especially for people who are hard of hearing, or like me, don't pay attention. The Spirit, I think, would be a much better killer if they had visual indicators to show where they are. Well, yeah, they are meant to be a stealth killer, well, kind of, that vanishes and then reappears. But using audio as their only counter can be a bit problematic for accessibility. So, simple change. How about when they're phasing, they leave behind glass in the air floating around as a hint to where they are. It's not giving away their location, it's not like a trail of glass. It's specks in the air so you can look out for it. I think that's fun, ties the glass in her body to her power a little bit more, and makes them a lot fairer. Which, fair killers are good, what can I say? Legion's next. I had trouble picking a single buff, because I also had a nerf I want. The nerf isn't that bad, so I'll pick the buff that every Legion main, and I mean every single one wants this. Allowed them to see blood pools and frenzy. Blood pools aren't even that useful, honestly. Like, on any other killer you wouldn't care. But Legion, it's weird. They're a tracking killer, they can track people easily. If they can see blood pools, I think that'd be a lot better. It'd be fun. It'd be cool. You know? Without getting into it too much, some add-ons can be oppressive, some are useless. But add blood pools and I think everyone would be happy. Anyway, next killer is the Plague. Which, this skin is very cool, by the way. I just want to touch on that quickly. I logged in today and saw that I just had this in my locker. I guess I got it from the Rift. Whatever. Plague, they're not that bad of a killer. And I think the only change I want for them is maybe more stuff to do with their vomit. Which sounds weird on paper, but like, maybe mist vomit stays on the ground briefly and can infect someone initially. Not gain infection, just infect them initially. It won't affect anyone who's already hit, so accuracy is key, but if you want to begin infecting them, that could be a cool little buff. Cool little change. Overall, this killer is fine. In some scenarios, they're very powerful, but that's every killer. If you think of every killer, there's a scenario where they're overpowered, so yeah, whatever. Next killer, Ghostface. I love this mask cosmetic. Ghostface, the only issue with his kit is revealing, which is weird. On a survivor side, It's so strange. Like, sometimes he's really far away, you can see him, but you can't reveal him because he's too far. Sometimes you accidentally reveal him when you don't even see him, and sometimes you don't want to reveal him. So I think binding it to a key could be cool. Like, the prompt could appear at the beginning of the trial. They're a stealth killer, I know, but who cares if they know what killer you're playing when you're a stealth one? Once they know it's a ghost face, they're gonna play differently, so you might as well not play if you work by that logic. Yeah, just make revealing a bit more fine-tuned, if you can. Next killer is one of my favorites, Demogorgon. They are in a very good spot. They're getting a small buff in the upcoming patch, which make one of their most used add-on combos base kit, which I think that's awesome. Behavior should do more of that. I think me and a lot of people were insanely worried that they added back Demogorgon, and in the same month said, oh, by the way, in a few months we're going to be changing them somehow. Like, we thought, oh, they're going to nerf him to the ground. Anyway, what would I change about him? Make that when he travels to a portal, survivors who are near the portal, without having to charge your power, are revealed. A lot of traveling killers have this. I think all traveling killers should have it, but I'm fine if they don't. That was in an alright place. I'm just suggesting a change I would very much like to make this cool guy even more cool and fun. For the killer side, not survivor. Next killer, the Oni, who if this buff came, I think I'd play Oni a lot more. Blood Fury is satisfying to get, but so difficult to use. So difficult. So I think during Blood Fury, you should get base kit changes. By this, I mean basic killer things, like you can break stuff faster, vault stuff faster, recover from attacks faster, I guess. Recover from effects faster, maybe. Anything. Maybe if you want a drawback, like increase the terror radius. Anything to make Blood Fury more than a difficult power to use. Because this is such a cool looking killer, and they have such a cool power, that's just very hard to get into, so yeah, I think this would make them a bit slightly more beginner friendly. Next up, we've got one of the coolest killers as well, the Deathslinger, which I was around when this guy was getting teased, and I loved the name so much, the Deathslinger. So this video has been me rambling and not at all scripted. I say semi-scripted, I've just got like a Word document open with like notes, but I think the Redeemer should be able to be more scary. Like, hypothetically, this is a change I thought of because it's crazy. Redeemer hitting a locker with a survivor in it deep wounds them. This might seem crazy, but I think this would be really scary. And yeah, overall he's fine. He's fine. He's the weakest range killer, but that's because every other one gets like boosted every month. So whatever. Next up we've got, oh, what would you get? Another really cool killer. This year was really great for Dead by Daylight, wasn't it? Year 3. Year 3 was insane. We'll take this is the year 4. Whatever. I think a nerf, which I think makes sense, is his power shouldn't punish all survivors, only the ones it affects. By this I mean unhooking a survivor from a cage should count as an unhook, but not for the caged. It's punishing them because, oh, it's a special thing, it's not a hook, you can't use your hook perks. But I don't get why that punishes everyone. I'd be fine with it, I've played them enough. I think it's fine. It'll also allow people to run borrowed time as a counter to add endurance to that survivor who just got rescued. So yeah, make their power a little less punishing, even though they're the Punisher, but whatever. Next up, the Blight. First of all, as a Scots person, I do find it weird that our only representation is a junkie. Am I complaining? No, he's the second best killer in the game practically, so whatever. I think this is a change I thought we'd get like within the last months. The Blight on mobile has a like bar that shows exactly how long the current rush has. Why don't we have that in base game? That is such a good change. It stops people from guessing, oh, do I have like 5 meters left or like 2 meters? It shows exactly the amount of time before the Blight can't rush anymore, can't bounce. Will it make their power less skilled? I don't think it will. It's a simple change. Like, good Blight mains will already know this. This will just help beginners get more used to it. This is like a better version of their guide add-on. I forget what, the monocle or whatever. At the very least, they could just make that what the monocle does instead of showing you the direction you're going. That's like a really weird add-on. I just got to touch on that. There's an add-on that you equip and it shows just the wall in front of you. Doesn't guarantee you'll be able to bounce. Just says, you see that, what you're looking at? That's a wall. That's a barrier. Okay? Like, at the very least, make that an add-on. But what I'd want is base kit, when you're rushing, show exactly how long the rush has left. And yeah, that's about it. I feel weird that I only have the head for the Rift cosmetic equipped. I have the whole outfit, I just forgot to equip it. But yeah, whatever. Next killer is another one of my favorites. I know that's weird. Me and like 2 other people I know like twins. So what would I change about twins? They're getting a buff in the future. I hope they don't gut them. I hope they buff them. It's a rework, so it should do both. Good wise. But I think Victor should be able to go back into Charlotte on command. If I'm being honest, this is just so you can choose which Mori you have. But it's also cool so that if you don't want Victor just lying out in the open, which I don't know why you wouldn't want that, but sometimes I do. Just so I can choose where I drop him off. Yeah, it's a nice little change. I have got a lot of ideas for potential reworks for the twins. So if you want to see reworked style videos, expect that soon. But yeah, that's the twins. Now we're on to the Trickster. I say recently, I didn't say it yet, but recently, I say recently, they got tweaked a lot. Like, they had to get an add-on reworked because there's a brief period they had infinite ammo, which was really weird. But I think the only change I want for Trickster is to make him more of a trickster. And he has an add-on called Trick Blade. Make it base kit that he can maybe activate Trick Blade. Like, say, pressing a button switches it to a Trick Blade. Just to be more of a trickster, to fool with survivors, mess with them. In some way, to be more of a trickster, like the name would imply. It's weird when killer powers and their names don't match. Whatever. Next up, we've got the Nemesis, who, they're okay. They're sort of a beginner killer, which I think makes sense because they were a lot of people's introductions to Dead by Daylight. They were the killer that released when I first started playing. So, yeah. The power is simple. The zombie AI could do with like a little tweak, maybe. It can be oppressive, it can be stupid. It's AI, it's independent, it's undependable. The only real change I'd make is maybe make tier 3 more worth it, and hypothetically, allow your tentacle to now damage generators, totems, damage more stuff. Because I think getting to tier 2, you can now break stuff. Great, what does tier 3 do? You get a little bit more range. Like 6 meters. It's unnoticeable, honestly. Buff tier 3. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Our next killer is this Pinhead. I've got iffy feelings. I tend to play solo queue a lot, and he's awful against solo queue. But as a team, he's a very good killer. He's fun there. I think maybe a nerf idea. I don't know if this is bad. I don't know if it's controversial. I don't know a lot about the people who play this killer, I'll be honest. Maybe disable box teleporting during a chain hunt to make it easier to get out of that hell. That's about it. My favourite part of the kit's the chain, like, portal thing. Because that's actually fun. I like hitting that. Even if I miss that, it's so fun to, like, magic missile, fucking chain at someone. It's funny. Next killer we've got is the artist, who is a killer that suffers a lot from not having a lot of stuff in their kit that supports itself. They're a long-range sniper of a killer, but it is so strange. They don't have any information with their power. You hit someone, great, you see where they are for 3 seconds, and then you have to wait like more than double that, it feels sometimes, to be able to hit them again. So maybe more information in their kit? Like, swarmed survivors could just be revealed to you until your power comes off cooldown. I think that's fair. More than fair, maybe, even. Just, I feel bad for this killer who looks so cool. Every killer in this game looks cool. They should all play cool. Next, we've got my favorite killer. You heard me, my favorite. They are the best, in my opinion. Not the best as in, like, overpowered, underpowered. They're just awesome. Sadako. The Onryo. Whatever you want to put it. I think the only issue I have is when you get some to 7 stacks, you only get rewarded with, oh, they're right here and you can kill them. Maybe, like, all TVs get switched on or switched off, or in some way you get a massive reward for successfully using your power. All power should work like you do your power extremely well, you get a reward. They're fine, I just think, or even an add-on that when someone gets max stacks activates. There isn't anything like that. Next, we've got such a cool killer, the Dredge. Sorry, I was in awe at the animation. Dredge is fine. They don't have really many issues that I can stand out with. They're a little loud for a killer that uses a stealth thing, but I think what would be interesting is maybe granting them another token. Allow them to teleport one more time. I don't think it'll be too problematic. If anything, it'll be cool. Just allowing them to use more of their power. All of their power is fine, and they're very similar to the upcoming killer, which I'm not going to talk about them in this video because they're new. They need to simmer a little while. And here's Wesker. This was like the first killer I was playing the game for the teaser for, and he is a really great killer. The only issue I see people complain about is his infection. How it's boring. Hindrance is boring. Boring with a capital B. It just makes you slow. Oh wow, is that my reward for playing well with a killer that's fun? It's nothing. Like, maybe replace the hindrance with something more interesting, like action speed or skill checks. Ouroboros is meant to be for peak humans, and all survivors are weak or whatever. Make them perform less efficiently. Even if it just did exhaustion, I think I'd like the power a lot better. But where they're at now, I don't mind them. I don't mind. Next up, we've got one of my favorite skin combos I've got right now. This is cool. The Knight. The Knight, a lot of people don't like them. I don't not like any killer. I dislike a few certain ways of playing killers in certain scenarios, but that's about it. The Knight, I can think of a change. It's quite a simple change, but make it a lot easier to break stuff with the Knight. When you're right up against a pallet and you try and break it with a guard, you have to step back, which I think's strange. Maybe just press power button when you're right in front of a pallet and summons the guard to break it, or a wall, or anything to make it easier for me to use the card effects to keep up with Survivor. That's honestly it. Which, by the way, you know the flags are just called the Standard? Like, I don't know if that's common or not, it's just a really weird name in my opinion. Anyway, next we've got probably no one's favorite killer except my group of friends. It's strange. Twitter decides every week to post something about them, like, oh, this killer is awful, the Skull Merchant. The Skull Merchant is completely trash, and then people defend them, and then it just gets really, really weird. People start complaining about animations. The only change I'd make is same thing with Wesker. Remove the hindrance and haste. Speed as a reward for successfully using your power insanely well isn't fun. I've seen a lot of suggestions for way better things. Watch Pixel Bush's video if you haven't. Yeah. Make this unfun killer fun. And now we've got a really fun killer. Singularity. I had issues thinking of a buff. I thought about making the cameras more stealthy. I thought about maybe punishing survivors for using EMPs, making them harder to use. Nothing felt satisfying. Maybe alert the killer when a camera's broken. Or a biopod. Because right now, it's really, really sucky that you're chasing a survivor, you think you've got them, you switch to your biopod, the perfect angle, and it's disabled. Like, oh, you didn't know? It's disabled. Killer instinct, maybe, on the camera, not the survivor, the camera, to say, oh, yeah, this thing needs replacing. That's about it. Yeah. I can't believe this killer's almost a year old, by the way. That feels insane. But now we're gonna talk about the alien, the Xenomorph. I wish they were called the alien so bad, but whatever. I don't have many issues with them. I think maybe if you could choose between crawler and not crawler mode, it would be a better power. I just find it annoying that there's a killer that can zone insanely easily, who also is technically a stealth killer, who also has high mobility. But it makes sense. It's the Xenomorph. They're the perfect hunter. They're the perfect, unnatural hunter, I should say. Because, Predator. I guess. This video's a lot of me just talking random stuff, but make tail attack more punishing, and make it so that you have to choose, maybe, between basic attacking and tail attacking when you're in crawler mode. Because they're way too oppressive. But I don't mind. Next killer is the last killer on our list. Is Chucky. With Tiffany's skin, because Tiffany is the best. But the only issues I've been seeing are with what behavior done with them. When they were in the P2B, everyone loved them, but everyone was complaining about how scampering under a pallet to immediately get a hit was very, very effective with no punishment. So maybe add a punishment to that. Add a punishment to the fact that, Wesker can't do that. Wesker vaults a window using their power, and they have, a solid second they can't attack anyone. Maybe do that. Going under a pallet causes, a brief attack cooldown. Even if it's, a second. I'll be fine. Anything to make this killer way better. And our next killer isn't in the game yet. I don't want to talk anything about the unknown yet. I haven't properly got the chance to play them, so I think it'd be unfair if I judged them, so yeah. I'll see you when I see you. Bye bye.